Hey everybody, glad you're with me here today, and off we go with lots of stuff to talk about. First and foremost, you can start loading in the questions in the box there. If you want to do a super chat, you can hit the little $ and make sure that you get your question answered. We do have some pictures to show of people who have sent in pictures of their car and one video question as well. First off, I want to let you know last time it was Nick from, oh, you're going to see Nick in a moment with the video question from Stratford, Ontario, wee haggis as we call him here on the channel, who said, people should follow along on Instagram. And I did that in the last live show and it worked really, really well. Got a lot more people following along. So if you don't have me on Instagram yet, get out your phone, go to Instagram and search in Motormouth, pretty simple, right? Motormouth_auto. And you'll see my Instagram feed, so I'd love for you to do that. Now, oh yeah, don't forget Car Cost Canada is a sponsor of the channel. If you want to find all of the rebates that are happening, and there's going to be a lot of them here over the next several months, if you're in the market to buy a car, you need to know what the dealer paid, the discounts, the rebates, the discounted interest rates, all of the secret rebates that you'll only get by going to Car Cost Canada. And don't forget to use the promo code Motormouth. It opens up more searches for you. And if you're not in the market for a new car, please tell somebody you know who is to use Car Cost Canada because it's going to save them some money. So I've been mentioning it for the last couple of weeks that Lexus was set to debut the new IS tomorrow. Tomorrow's the 9th. Suddenly out of the blue on Friday, got an email saying it's delayed. I don't know what it is. I'm hoping it's because maybe they didn't have any special video package to give us in advance to get the video ready. I'm hoping that's the only reason. But when I find out when it is, I'll let you know. Ford is going to be debuting the all-new F-150 on June 25th. So that's not long away. And a couple of days before, I'm going to be going in an online deep dive into the F-150. It is the best-selling pickup truck in North America. It is the best-selling vehicle in Canada, period, where I live. And so this is the most important new vehicle launch probably the last couple of years. So F-150, I'll be finding out all about it in advance. I can't tell you until it is actually shown on the 25th. And we're going to get into the questions. Don't worry. I just wanted to go through something that was sent to me from Canadian Black Book. The prices of used cars is dropping really quite quickly, and it really is segment specific. So here are the vehicles with the largest drop in wholesale prices. So vehicles going to the auction and getting put through the auction. Full-size cars are dropping the fastest. And they've gone down 1.5% in 1 week. It dropped 1.5% of their value in 1 week, followed by mid-size car, then compact car. So those three categories, large, mid, and compact car, are all going down rather quickly. Now, what's interesting to me is seeing about a 1.5% drop in subcompact crossovers. So think the HR-V, the CHR, the Kona. They are dropping the fastest. Now think about this. This was the fastest growing segment in the auto industry up until COVID-19 hit. So subcompact crossovers are dropping the fastest, followed by compact luxury crossovers. So that's like X3, Q5. And then subcompact luxury crossovers. Think the Lexus UX. What else would be a subcompact crossover? X1, vehicles like that. So it's interesting that it's not just affecting cars, it's also affecting utilities. Now there's a bunch of other vehicles that are getting affected by this, but you really need to watch and see the values of cars for trade-in if you're going to be trading one in and maybe getting a good deal. There is a theory now, this is from Canadian Black Book, that as we go through the next couple of months, all of those people that delayed returning their leases because dealerships were shut down. They were allowing people to extend their lease for a few months, just keep the payments going. a lot of these cars are going to be coming back into the market, which could drop prices some more. Then you have all the rental car companies that are going to get rid of their fleet of cars. That could drop down the prices even more. So lots going on in the used car market. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Okay. Let's get into it. Let's see what's going on out there. Kevin is here saying, hey, Zach, looking at a 2016 GLE diesel. It's the last year they offered this 6-cylinder diesel in Canada. Have you driven it? Is it the same engine as the old ML? I have driven it. It is a great engine. I would say the ML, they did do some changes with the engine. So it's not exactly the same engine all the way from the ML original diesel, the old 320 CDI, and then they went to the Blue Tech technology. But yeah, it's the latest technology. It will have had to be updated for compliance. And they're saying you're asking $40,000 for a CPO. I'm thinking that's a good deal. So, you know, I'm not sure. It's a 16, so that's got like 2 years extra warranty. That's good. The price I'm not sure about. That's where you need to go to CanadianBlackBook.com and look up what the wholesale price of that vehicle is. It's really easy to look up for yourself. But, you know, I love diesel SUVs. I think SUVs are fantastic for people looking for good fuel economy and great torque. I just realized I haven't done the pictures. Okay, let's do the pictures. Now this is from Raymond. He sent a bunch, so I'm going to show them to you. Raymond Mailhot sent this. There's his GT350, which is one of my all-time favorite modern cars, and he's crying there in the upper left-hand corner because he had to trade it in. He said it took a lot of work to decide what he was going to do, and you can see his motorcycle over his shoulder there, so that's good. So GT350. Now that is a real car. And then he's not stranded altogether, a top-of-the-line 5-liter Mustang. And then he's got his motorcycle to go and have some fun. He says he misses the bottom-end grunt from the GT350. But still, I'm a big fan of the Mustang GT, so I don't feel so bad for you. Then there's Mitch with his new Mini. Sent a nice email saying he watched the reviews I'd done on Minis and helped him decide on this. I think from reading the license plate, you're down in St. Catharines area. If not, it looks like a beautiful neighborhood anyway. So enjoy your new Mini. They're a lot of fun. And then we have Alexander Huang, who is a Subaru fan, obviously. He's got his WRX on the left and his Outback on the right. That's a nice combo, some good traction there. I like the blue of the WRX. And then Francisco sent a picture in before of his Peugeot from when he lived in South America and now living in Ontario. And he said, you mentioned that you love small cars, so I thought I'd send you more pictures of his Peugeot. And I wish, you know, we had more options for other cars in North America other than the ones we already have. Now, I don't think Peugeot would be a big seller, but it would be nice to get some other products. Okay, so I mentioned Nick. Also, so his dad is huge Haggis, and he's wee Haggis. And here's wee Haggis's video question.
Question is, would you consider doing conversion camper vans such as the Mercedes Sprinter, Nissan MV, and Sportmobile?
All right, nice to see you. I just have to. My son is playing video games. I'm going to send him a text right now. Should I just yell out? He's outside. Hey, Jack.
Yeah.
A guy could get thirsty.
All right.
It's beer o'clock. So Nick, to your question, I'm not sure if you're asking whether I would do videos about van conversions. I sure watch a lot of them. Nick asked, you know, what sort of stuff are you into in Japan? And I was talking about how I love looking at Japanese camper vans. They have the coolest camper vans over there. And then I also mentioned that I'm into watching van conversions like of Sprinters and ProMasters and Ford Transits. People take, it's called van life. People buy a van and they make it into their own custom camper. Now, I don't have time to go out and videotape other people doing it. I do have a fantasy though. Come in, entree. What do you have, brother? Say hi to everybody.
Hi.
There's Jack
Hi.
with his OVO shirt. What does it say on the back?
Oh, I can't really come in.
Sure, come on in.
This is the,
Oh, it's the OVO owl.
there.
All right, off you go. Well done, Jack. See you at dinner. So I do have this fantasy of getting. I would get a ProMaster because it's a little bit wider and converting it. I have my own special, unique design that I've been dreaming up. I would like to do it, but of course it would be expensive. And the guys that I would get to do it would be in Squamish. All right, too much of that. Let's get to the questions. First of all, subscriber sip. Cheers, everybody. Hope you're well. Delicious. With the new TLX coming out later this year and the Type S in the spring, will Acura be able to boost their sporty image again and see some brand growth? I see more Lexus and Acura cars in the wild. Well, there's going to be a big push from Acura. They're going to have a new MDX. So think of the RDX, but bigger. And I think you're going to see more Type S equipment in the marketplace. So instead of just having it for that one specialty car, I think you're going to see that trim evolve for other vehicles in their lineup. So I think, and then there's another brand that has been really doing nothing for the last few years, and that's Infiniti. Infiniti is another brand that's going to be having a huge onslaught of brand new vehicles coming into the marketplace. And I think a lot of this has been spurred on by what Genesis has been doing. I said that many times. I think that Genesis is really getting a lot of car companies to sit up and pay attention, and maybe not even Genesis, but Korean brands generally, because they have scored so highly when it comes to quality scores. Genesis is near the top, Kia and Hyundai are right near the top, and these are brands that are have momentum, and everything in the auto industry is momentum. So they have a bit of the wind at their back, and others have headwinds. So I think that Acura still has headwinds. Infiniti still have headwinds for leaving their products for too long. But we saw with the introduction of the G70 from Genesis that one car can really make a difference. So I think it's going to help if they can keep this new model refresh coming with a cadence of exciting new vehicles. I love this channel and it's an amazing community. Thanks for doing this. Raj, I appreciate it. Thank you, brother. It's nice to have you here. It's nice to have lots of regulars here. Raul is saying, hey, Zach, what are your top 5 choices for best mid-sized luxury SUV? Well, I think BMW X5, I think right now, BMW X5 is kind of like the best all-rounder right now because the inline 6-cylinder turbo engine is fantastic. And this new one that they just came out with last summer, I think they did a great job. Porsche Cayenne is more expensive, but it's just a fabulous all-rounder. I would say the Lexus RX is a good vehicle because it is it's a Lexus and it's going to hold its value and deliver the mail every day. I would put a Grand Cherokee in there. I'm a big fan of the Grand Cherokee just for its size, but there are lots of choices. There's 4 to think of right now. Hello from North York, MR2. Hey, by the way, if you want to get your pictures in, send them to zack@motormouth.ca. ZACK@motormouth.ca. For Americans, it's ZACK@motormouth.ca. So if you have an MR2, send a picture in. We're doing this again on Thursday. Seymour Rutz. Hey, Zach, where do you see the small truck landscape going in the 2020s? Thanks. I'm not sure what you mean by small truck. Do you think like Tacoma, that size, the Canyon, the Colorado? This is a real growth area for these brands. For example, with General Motors and Ford being out of that small truck space for a while, it certainly provided a growth area for them. And there's a lot of, and here's the interesting thing about these. They used to be compact pickup trucks. They're now mid-size pickup trucks, which opens the door for somebody to come in with a small pickup truck. Do you remember the Rangers of not that long ago? They were quite small, but they sold a lot of them and they were inexpensive. I think if somebody could come with a stripped down, base sort of 4-cylinder, but still fairly powerful truck that doesn't cost too much, I think they would have a good truck on their hands. What do you think of a car with a non-collision Carfax? Musa, I'm not sure exactly what you mean. You mean the car hasn't been in a collision? or the fact that it doesn't show whether it's been in a collision? If you could please clarify. Have you ever done the Porsche Sport Driving School? Is it worth the price? Have you ever been on any of the Porsche Experience tours? I really enjoy these types of programs. I have, of course, yes. I've been invited on several of them. I would say that the Porsche Driving School is a real tiered event, right? So when you go for the first time, sort of their novice level, I find it's a bit maybe too basic for me, but I've done a lot of sort of advanced driving classes and clinics. So it's probably would be better to go to a higher level and maybe one of your, I think you're in Ontario, Raj, to be find a enthusiast driving school, maybe up at the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park or something like that. And I know you have a 911 to take it with you and get an instructor to teach you. It doesn't need to be with Porsche, but what I will say is that their tours are really fun because you get to drive the new cars, you get to tour, you get world-class driving instructors like Kays Nirop is a friend of mine who goes on these right across the country. Used to be a former Porsche factory driver, drove in Le Mans. So he would be your instructor and take you on the tour. And plus you stay in nice hotels, you eat good food. It's a lot of fun. The one that is really worthwhile is for their driving school is the winter driving program. That one is fantastic. Now, of the two winter driving programs that I've done the Porsche one and the Mercedes-Benz one. For just straight winter driving, if you want to learn to be a better driver and you drive in Canada, doesn't matter whether you drive a 911 or whatever, sign up. It's the best money you will spend for a driving school that I have been to is the Mercedes-Benz winter driving program in Gimli, Manitoba. Their ice circuit there on Lake Winnipeg is, I think it's 7 kilometers long. It is fantastic. I highly recommend it. The Porsche one is at Macaglis in Quebec. It is very good as well, but it just can't compete with the scale of the Mercedes-Benz. And then you have all high-powered AMG cars that you drive. It is fantastic and well worth the money. And plus you can go to see where they make the Crown Royal, which is made in Gimli, after you've done the driving. Jérôme Levesque Boucher, did I get it right this time? I was doubtful about the Car Cost Canada thing. I saved about $1,000, no jokes. Well, what do you think, I'm gonna lie to you? It's the real deal, Car Cost Canada. I mean, sign up using Motormouth as the username and get going. If you're looking for a car, look it up and find out. I mean, look at, it cost Jerome, I saved him $1,000, cost him nothing, good for you. Huge Haggis, Wee Haggis' dad. Hey Zach, just finished a stint of afternoons, missed the show. Why haven't we seen Chinese cars? I've heard it's everything from build quality to safety regs or politics at play. Well, there are Chinese cars on the road. I think the Buick Envision is made in China. There was one Cadillac hybrid that was made in China. There were, for a short period of time, Honda Fits that were made in China that were on the roads here. There's a couple of General Motors products that are made in China and actually imported directly. Now, I have been to 4 different Chinese auto shows, 3 of them in Shanghai and 1 of them in Beijing. These are huge shows. They're probably the biggest auto shows I've ever been to. And when I started going to them several years ago, it was suspect, man. These cars were good from far, but far from good. As soon as you got up close, it was like, wow. But then after the 8 years, because they have, it was about 8 years between the first and the last one. Then you start going to the more current ones. And some of the products from these domestic Chinese brands are really good. One that you need to pay attention to is the Chinese version of Tesla. It's called NIO, N-I-O, NIO. And NIO has some really cool looking designs, and it's a brand that I think is actually going to catch on. It's catching on in China, but I think could actually end up doing something here. I think there's no political will to allow Chinese brands into Canada other than existing companies that are manufacturing and exporting. quite a few like with Volvo, they have some assembly that's done in China and then delivered to their final assembly. Wee Haggis has said, everybody watching, drop a like. I couldn't agree more. And don't forget, sign up at Instagram. I'm going to see if anybody signed up in the last little while. Yeah, no, nobody has. Maybe you all have. It's motormouth_auto. And if we can get more people signing up. Raj is saying Mercedes-Benz don't refresh their models as often as other manufacturers. Why do they follow this strategy? Owners must love their cars and stay looking for a long time. Well, I would suggest that one of the things that's happened with Mercedes-Benz, BMW as well, is they have expanded their model lineup so much over the last 10 years. Like in the 90s, for example, you used to have a C-Class, an E-Class, and an S-Class. And then they brought out ML, and then they have all these different variations of SUVs. Then they added in the AMG stuff. And if you look at their portfolio of cars, there's dozens of them. So the ability to change them as quickly isn't there. Plus, German brands, for the most part, only change their cars every 7 years. They might do a mild facelift, and for German brands, whether it's Volkswagen, BMW, whatever, when they do a facelift, it's very minor. They move the grille a little, they change the headlights a little bit. So the average person wouldn't even notice that they had made a change. So that model cadence of every 7 years, they really stick to it. And there were some exceptions where they make it even longer, like the SL, the two-door convertible sports car that they've had since the 50s, is only every 10 years. So yeah, that's what they do. And one of the things is that as you, got a like. Who D Smith 25 started following you. Thank you, D Smith. One of the nice things about owning a German car and the fact that the brands don't change that often is that a car that you buy still looks current for many years. So it has its ups and its downs. Oh, it's jumping around on me here. No super chats yet. Did I miss one? Don't have a super chat yet. Super chat. Mazda finally putting the 2.5-liter turbo in the 2021 Mazda 3. Is that true? And what are your thoughts? I read that somewhere as well. Yeah, I think that, I've said it so many times, whether it's small cars or mid-sized cars, car sales are going down. People are moving towards utility vehicles. So now car manufacturers are adding more and more stuff to cars to keep them kind of relevant. So what's the trend we've seen over the last little while? Hey, we'll add all-wheel drive. So now you can get all-wheel drive in a Camry, an Altima. Of course, you get it in a Legacy sedan. You always had that from Subaru. There's one I'm missing. There's one more I'm missing. Altima, where you can get all-wheel drive. Now they're going to start offering more engine variants. And the one that Mazda has at their disposal is the turbo that they have in the Mazda 6. So it's just basically to keep interest in the category going. Now they did that with all-wheel drive for Mazda. There's the other one, Mazda 3. They added all-wheel drive, but it didn't turn out for them. The sales are actually down of that car. Raj is saying the 992 is the best-looking 911 since the 993. I think the 992 will maintain its style appeal for many, many years to come. What are your thoughts? Well, have you been reading my mind? Did you see the video? So here I have the thumbnail for the video that's going to drop tomorrow. It's a Porsche 993. So this is the last of the air-cooled 911s. I own two of these. I had a Carrera S and a Carrera 4S. And I say in that video that this is the best-looking 911 until they brought out the new 992. So exactly what you're saying, Raj, is I think that the new, current, brand new 911, and by the way, I get the 911 Cabriolet next week. And Andrew and I are going to do a little road trip up to Squamish or Whistler and put the roof down and have some fun. So we'll do that. The main thing for me with the new 992, it's the ratio of the wheels to the fenders to the body. And that's what they changed with this current car. So they have a staggered offset. So the wheels at the back aren't just wider, thicker. They're actually bigger at the front than they are at the front. And that changed everything with the proportions of the car. I just love it. Ahmed says, hi from Calgary. When is the debut of the new S-Class, and will you do the coverage on that? I'm not sure what day it's going to be coming out for Mercedes-Benz. Hopefully I'll find out. And of course, yeah, I'll get a video on it and turn it around as quickly as I can. Hey, Zach, do I have to buy an extended warranty for my vehicle after the 3-year lease, or can I buy once the standard 4-year factory warranty is up? I'm buying the vehicle off the lease. Thanks. You do not need to buy it until the regular bumper-to-bumper warranty is coming up. So obviously you have either a Volkswagen or a premium car, because Volkswagen has a 4-year warranty. So yeah, so if you buy the lease, if you take over the lease, and then you still have 1 more year. Now, one thing to consider, when you lease a vehicle, the lease holder is the car company. We'll pick Audi, for example. I'm not sure what car it is. You're the leasee. Audi, our Volkswagen Credit, actually owns the car. You're just making the payments to them every month to drive it. At the end of that 3-year term is what you're talking about. You will then buy the remainder of the vehicle, and then it's now yours. Now, the reason I'm doing it this way is they still own the car. And when you buy it, it's a used car, which means it does qualify for a certified pre-owned warranty. So work with the dealer and say, can I buy the vehicle off of you, if it's Honda Credit, if it's an Acura or whatever it is, and then say, can I get a certified pre-owned warranty for that? So they'll put it through their shop and they'll back it up with an extra warranty. There will be some fee for that, but that's what I would do. If you plan on keeping the car, is see if you can get at the end of the lease, it's certified, and extend the warranty another 2 years. That makes sense? Jerome Levesque Boucher, I just like saying that. I was thinking, am I trading my e-Golf until I saw its resale value? Good God, that thing ain't worth a dime a year after I bought it brand new. Well, I don't know what to say other than, I've been saying this for years about electric cars, is that it's still early days for electric cars. One of the problems is, just like your phone, there's a new, updated, better version every 2 years. And then your phone is like, oh, I'll get a new one. It's faster, it's got a better camera, it's got all this stuff. Electric cars are no different. You just have a better battery, more range, it's the same price. So that vehicle has to basically diminish in terms of value. Yeah, my advice would just keep driving it. I like the e-Golf, I think it's a nice car. But the problem is they're gonna have the ID whatever coming later this year, and when that comes, then that's the one people are going to want, unfortunately. Daniel Gross, Zach's thoughts on the new KTL Tesla 1.2 million 16-year lifetime battery cell pack. Seems like every other vehicle battery pack is now obsolete. GM is really going to be impacted, methinks. No, General Motors has already announced a 1 million mile battery. So no, I don't think so. I think that from what I'm reading is that all brands are working on that. General Motors has already announced a 1 million mile battery. Hey, Zach, since you left driving television, I noticed no longer on the air. Is it because nobody can fill your shoes? Yes, that's right. No, I don't know. I don't know. I don't work there anymore. Can't tell you anything. I don't work there. Hey, Zach, just sent you a long question via email. Have a great show. By the way, this brings up a good point. I do have a Patreon page that's linked into the channel. If you would like one-on-one buying consultation from me, I do have a $150 US Patreon subscription that you can sign up for, and we'll do emails, we'll do a phone call or two, and we'll get you towards the right vehicle that is possibly for you. So if you would like more of that one-on-one than basically I'm doing here, that is available to you. Single Malt's here. Nice to see you. Hey, Zach. Do you know if the Blaine border crossing is allowing the import-export of used cars? Cheers with a spring pale ale. Nice, that's good stuff, that spring pale ale. Are you talking about Okanagan Spring Pale Ale? I hope so. Um, you know what I would do? I would phone one of the border brokers. I don't know, to be honest with you. Now, the goods and trade is allowed to go back and forth across the border. So I would suspect that a vehicle would be allowed to go across as a good. So what I would do is call, like, just look up Blaine brokers and then phone them, and they'll probably tell you in like 2 seconds. Clinton Chang, hey Zach, what do you think about a used 15 Audi Q50 as a first car? Are they reliable? They seem to be the best bang for the buck in terms of price and luxury. Yeah, I don't think, you want to make sure you get it inspected. You want to make sure you get a Carfax. You want to make sure a mechanic looks at it beforehand. But yeah, I have no problem with the Q50. From what I understand, that car has been pretty good. What I would say is we do have Josh from Montreal, who's a regular contributor here in the questions and answers. And Josh is usually on, and he has a Q50, so I'd love to hear from him. But yeah, I don't think there's an issue with that. And you do get a lot of value because the car isn't particularly popular. It's been out for a long time without any updates, so it makes a good used car value. What would be a more fun to drive Crosstrek alternative? Thanks. Well, I right away would go with a Volkswagen Golf Sport Wagon or the Crosstrek. That's basically the same thing, but one's got a little bit more cladding on it, what have you. But if there probably are still some new 19, they made a lot of them. They stopped making the Sport Wagon at the end of the 2019 model year. But from what I heard from my pal Thomas Tetzlaff at Volkswagen Canada, they were going to kind of overproduce those. So I bet you'd have to go and look for yourself. If you had a look around online, you'd probably find a brand new Volkswagen Golf Sport Wagon or the Crosstrek. What the hell's it called? The crossover looking one. And that would be a much more fun alternative to the Crosstrek. All road. That's what it's called. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's got more power, right? That's the biggest difference. It's got 200 pound-feet of torque. You can get it even with a manual transmission if you want. So that'd be a nice car to have. Hey, Zach, if you could have... The problem with all of these crossover ones, cross country, cross all road, they all end up in my brain as the same vehicle. Hey, Zach, if you could have any car that's not sold in North America, what would it be? For me, it would be a Toyota Yaris GR, a Toyota Velfire V6 Executive Lounge, or both. So I think that's the van. They're cool. I talked about that, that I was in Tokyo for the motor show in November, and I was taken to the airport in one of those. So yeah, they're pretty cool. What would the car be if I can't get it here? It would probably be... Now we can get it here, unfortunately, so it kind of disqualifies me, but the Audi RS6 Avant. That'd be the car I'd want. Hey, Zach, besides Porsche, which manufacturer do you think consistently makes vehicles with good steering feel and feedback? Well, here's the thing, is that a lot of brands have improved. And what you're talking about is when the industry switched from hydraulic power steering to this electric power steering. And some of the early executions were pretty bad. The Koreans were especially bad. Their electric power steering was absolutely awful. And now, in the last few years, they've improved dramatically to the point where it isn't an issue. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? Sound is on. Let me know. Sound is on. How long was it out? Okay, it's all coming through. Sorry, guys. That's the problem with me being behind on the chat thing. Yeah, I had this happen the other day with this microphone. I think I need a new cable. So I apologize for that. That's a pain in the ass. Sorry about it. Maybe a Volkswagen mic. A lot of crackling. Is it still crackling? Sound is back. Five plus minutes. Shit. Sorry about that, guys. Apologize. All right. I do have my little screen turned around. Okay. So I'm just reading everybody replying here. Is it crackly or is it okay? Sounds good. Okay. All right. No crackling. Raj says I'm eating an apple now. All good now. Okay. No crackling. Man, I hate that. I mean, technology's great until it stops working. I need a drink after that. That was intense. Oh, wow. Okay, I apologize, everybody. That sucks. Where was I? Thank you, guys. First of all, I want to say hi to Triggs13, the mic is out, and Eric saying the mic is off for the super chat. I appreciate that. That's very nice of you guys. Okay, where was I? Where the hell was I? Oh, Josh has jumped in. Thank you, Josh, for helping to answer the question. He says, I'm still really enjoying my 2018 Q50. Very smooth and generally comfy and more than adequate power, but horrible tech. It's a real shame. I always get complimented on the styling. It's true. The in-dash stuff with, the Q50 is the real weakness to that car. But if you can live with that, there's a lot of value there. There really is a lot of value. Sorry about that, guys. All right, I got to catch up where I was. I have an 18 Audi S4, and I'm looking to get out of likely an SUV. Is now a good time to explore a trade-in? Well, you probably the trade-in might be affected, but then there's going to be lots of deals on new, okay? So you have to check it out and see for yourself and see what they're going to offer you for the S4. That's easy to find out, though, what the Black Book price is. Go to CanadianBlackBook.com, look up your S4, and go from there. Now, the one thing is, especially if you're going to go back to the same brand, if, for example, you're going to get an Audi, maybe an SQ5, for example, the dealer will probably be willing to deal with you more because you're coming back to the brand, and they're going to have a nice car that they can put on their lot. So go to CanadianBlackBook.com and see. Hey, Raj is back saying, I saw the new Corvette on the road this past weekend. One word, wow, looks much better in person. It's a nice looking car. I mean, they threw a lot of money at that car. They did a lot right. They did a lot right. And now they're slowly getting the production. Talk about just the worst possible timing. They finally launched the Corvette. They get production up and running for like 2 weeks, and then boom, they have to shut it all down. So I talked not long ago about momentum. Everything's got momentum. They lost momentum. I'm just curious to know if your brother, who you showed, and the one who owns the Prius, works in Agincourt Junior Public School. I had him as a teacher a few times. He is, I thought my brother was in Scarborough. But yes, I think you wrote that he drove a Sienna minivan. Yeah, that's my brother. That's what he had. Seymour Rutt says $10 towards a new Toyota made Mike. These are Sennheiser. I wonder if the Sennheisers are German. They sound like they're German. Jerome's back saying, would a 2020 Audi A3 be a good bargain at this point? Dealer told me the new gen ain't coming before 2021's second quarter. Love Audi, but I'm worried about maintenance. This is interesting. So a couple of things here. I have been seeing, there's somebody near me that drives an Audi A3 Cabriolet, the convertible. And I think that would be a fun little car to drive. So basically it's a Volkswagen Golf platform convertible, which they don't make any longer, right? They had the EOS, but that's gone. A Volkswagen Golf-based Audi A3 convertible, I think would be a fun little car to have. Now, the second part of that is I was at the chiropractor, and they had a Consumer Reports magazine sitting there, and it was the Auto Special Edition. and I went to their list of the most reliable brands to the least reliable brands. And Audi was right near the top. And my anecdotal evidence from owning an Audi and other people that I know who have owned Audis, their quality is certainly improving. Now, Consumer Reports also says like they had Audi in the top, like it was Porsche, Lexus, it was even ahead of Tesla. So yeah, I have no problem saying an Audi A3. It's basically a Volkswagen Golf. Okay. Lazy-eyed modeler, Toyota, Honda, and Subaru USA are already at near 0% financing, but no movement from these three. Does that mean that they're still buying cars up here, or do they feel they have to offer us deals? I'm not sure what you're saying. So what you're saying, in Canada we're not seeing 0%. We'll get there eventually. I think that the Canadian marketplace is more driven by incentives, dollars off the, like dollar on the hood. And a lot of you might not be aware of this, but the incentive market in Canada is way bigger than it is in the United States. We often have much bigger incentives on our cars. Now, one of the reasons is the cars are more expensive because of the currency play. And that's one of the reasons why when you see a car in Canada and you see one in the United States and it's more expensive, well, that difference in price allows them to put more incentive for month to month on the hood of the car, and that's how they move cars along. In the United States, they don't do it as much. So I would suggest that maybe they're not there yet, but we're going to be getting closer to 0% interest in Canada by many manufacturers over the next couple of months. I had a question about, this is Triggs13. I had a question earlier about the extended warranty. Can I buy the certified pre-owned warranty even if the original warranty is still active? I believe you can, yes. So call the dealer, and if it's, just say you'd like to get the car certified and get the certified pre-owned warranty. They're probably going to charge you for it, but you should be able to get it. All they're doing is extending the warranty out past what you already have. Hey Zach, why does BMW and Mercedes-Benz have so many models? I get confused, and all are not good either. Can they not have fewer models and make them according to their ethos? Well, I would kind of agree with you, is that some of these brands have kind of lost their way, in my opinion. BMW is also the same, and I've mentioned this many times. My biggest complaint is the fact that they stick the specialty names on their cars, like AMG and M, on pretty much anything. They're kind of diluting their own brand. Sales have gone up, though. I mean, they have gone up quite a bit for these brands. So they would argue that, no, they have done better. I mean, BMW last year had, I think, a record year, and they had record profit. So, yeah, they're doing something right. Now, with more competition from brands like Tesla, and with the current economy, and Mercedes-Benz is going through a major restructuring when it comes to shedding expenses, excuse me, they are going to be streamlining their product lineup. There are going to be all kinds of different lines of cars that are not big sellers that are going to go away. So to your point, they are going to streamline their product mix as we go through the next couple of years. John is asking a similar question. I notice a lot of dealerships offering 0% financing up to 84 months, but only on select models. Are they serious during a pandemic? Can they really afford to be picky? Well, the thing is, if it's working for them and they don't need to put 0% on everything, then why wouldn't they? If you had a business, say you had a candy store and bubblegum is your best seller, but potato chips aren't, and kids come in and you want them to buy potato chips, you do 2 for 1, and all of a sudden all the potato chips are going. You don't need to put a discount on the bubble gum because it sells all the time. It's the same for them. And what they can is they can always add that if they need to, but they're keeping their powder dry, right? This is a big seller. For example, in the domestic market, big full-size pickup trucks are still selling incredibly well. So are they going to go to zero everything on all trucks? No, because they don't need to. They're still selling. Would you go Toyota RAV4 or spend the extra money on an Audi Q3 or 5? I'm a big fan of the Q3. I think the Q3 is a fantastic product, and it's not that crazy expensive. And if you don't need the extra room, more side to side than really that much length, I prefer it over the Q5. And I'm a big fan of premium cars, and you get the extra warranty. You get a different experience at the dealership with a premium car as well. So check it out and have a look for yourself and try them. If you love the RAV4 and you don't like the Q3, get the RAV4. I don't need a new car, but I'm contacting dealers to see if I can get the trade-in value I want, and if so, will likely make a move on a new lease. May not work, but worth a try. Often what you're going to find is the way that the car business works is that they're really not going to be willing to deal with you unless you're really going to get a car. You won't really know what the price is until you actually say, I'm actually going to buy the car. Then they'll put their best foot forward. And what you should do is to say, okay, I'm considering leasing a car, and then find out what the trade-in value of your vehicle is. If you don't like it, then drive away and say, here's my phone number. And if you want to sell the car, let me know. Now, you have to be reasonable. You have to go to Canadian Black Book and look it up and then see what the value is. But, you know, if you've got a particularly nice, clean car that you look after, a dealer will want that. Or they know that they're going to have to pay more for it. So try your luck. But often you're not going to get the best deal unless they know you're serious about getting a new car. If you're just asking, what's my car worth? They're not really going to give you the real number until they know they're going to get a deal. 19 CX5 Signature Diesel or RAV4 Hybrid Limited. Which one would you choose? Mainly looking at fuel efficiency as the main goal. I would still go the RAV4 Hybrid. Because it's not just about the fuel efficiency. What is the most expensive thing about buying a car? It's not fuel. Fuel is cheap. The fuel is one of the cheapest things about buying a new car. It's depreciation. It's how much the car is going to be worth in 3 or 4 years. That's what saves you the most money. A RAV4 Hybrid is as good as it gets when it comes to holding value in that sort of compact SUV space. There's a long lineup of people who want them. You probably know that if you're shopping for one. And there is no lineup of anybody lining up for a CX5 diesel. Now, if you were doing a lot of highway driving, like say you lived in Toronto and you had to go to Montreal, once or twice a week and you drove, a diesel would be good for that. It's really good for highway driving. If you're doing a lot of highway driving. So that's what I would say. Okay. Zach, what do you anticipate for interest rates for the rest of the year? I think we're going to be down, bumping along at 0 up to kind of 1.9%. I mean, anything under 2% is really cheap money. I mean, it doesn't really, yeah, it's going to be cheap. And the thing is that's where you need to go to Car Cost Canada. And when you have two vehicles that you're considering, A car and B car, often the tiebreaker is the deal, how much it costs. This one's got 1.9% interest, this one's got 0. This one's got 1.9% interest, but this one's got $5,000 off. Well, that's the math you have to figure out. But we're going to be in this low rate environment for a couple of years. Maybe not for cars, but interest rates generally are going to remain low. Fernando, hey Zach, greetings from Spenard here. Love your Q&As. Do you favor leasing a new car or buying it out at the end of the term? Is it smarter to buy a 3-year-old car? Hey, listen, these are all personal decisions. I like leasing cars. I call it the 3-year or 4-year test drive. You can see how the car is, if it's been no problem, you've enjoyed it, you really like the car. At the end of that 3 or 4 year lease term, you can then buy it out. The one of the problems you have when you're buying a 3-year-old car is you don't have access to all of that cheap money we were just talking about. So that 0% interest, that 1.9, that 2.9, that low interest rate environment that we're in now to get a new car, to lease a new car, doesn't translate often to used cars. Some brands are good at this, like BMW is really good at discounting and heavily discounting their used cars and even releasing used cars. So that's a brand that does a very good job with that. But there you go. It really comes down to your personal finances. Josh is chiming in. Now, I'm going to recap for Josh last week. He had an uncle or somebody who got a BMW X7, the new big 7-passenger X7, with $45,000 off. So what's he saying today? After seeing his friend's deal, Dad gave in his Range Rover and leased a 2020 750 with $30,000 off MSRP, $15,000 due to factory misbuild. $15,000 due to factory misbuild. No heads up or sat radio, and another $15,000 for BMW. He loves it. That's good, Josh. I don't disagree with that. Getting $30,000 off a 750 is not as rare as you would think. $45,000 off an X7 really surprised me. $30,000 off a 7 Series, not so much. The only issue is that car will depreciate incredibly quickly. So I'm not sure if he leased it. He leased it. Okay, good. So he knows the value is guaranteed at a certain amount. That's the only thing I worry, is that those big cars really depreciate quickly. Why don't car manufacturers include dash cams as standard equipment? I don't know, man. I've been asking them all the time. They have cameras all around them. Why not have, a recorder in the glove box? I have no idea. Okay, I see that I had all of these microphones out. So anyway, I'm just going to go through some of the pictures we had again. We had Raymond with his GT350. Oh my God, I love that car. I just love it. That's a beautiful car. And he's crying because he traded it in for his Mustang GT's 5.0. No, I'm not crying for him because that's a hell of a car too. And he says, don't cry for me too much because he's got his motorcycle. Then Mitch has his Mini Cooper that he bought, and he says the video reviews were very helpful. Appreciate that. Alexander Huang has 2 Subarus, a WRX and an Outback. That's a nice pair there. And then we have Francisco showing some pictures of his old Peugeot, who's moved to Canada now. Those are the old cars he used to have in, I can't try to remember what country he lived in. Was it Peru? I think so. Okay. I'm up against the clock here. I apologize about the microphone thing. I got to figure that out. And we'll talk soon. Okay, everyone? Enjoy the rest of your evening. We're back on Thursday. So the live chats are Mondays and Thursdays now. Okay? Take care, everyone. We'll speak to you then.